What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video we're going to be saying farewell to the Apex. You know, recently we said farewell to Lucas Tracy, gone too soon, may or may not have retired due to excessive Apex shitty heavyweight main events. Cause of retirement is unknown, but now we're going to be saying farewell to the Apex because the recent rumors that have been circulating and the recent news that has popped up is that the Apex will be undergoing construction or renovations, I should say, in November of this year, and then will be closed until summer next year in America, so like June, July kind of time. So we're going to be saying goodbye to the Apex for 8 months, assuming this news is correct. And if it's not correct, I don't care, because I'm going to clickbait so I get views. But also, recently we just had UFC Vegas 95. We've got UFC Vegas 96, 97, 98, 99. All on the books. UFC Vegas 99, Pereira versus Hernandez. But what we do not have is UFC 100, or Vegas 100 I should say, on the books. So that will be the 100th Apex Fight Night event, and that is going to be coming up in November of this year, and that will be the last time we visit the hallowed Apex until probably mid next year. So I'm going to be building the best possible mid card, not like an amazing card. I'm not building no pay-per-view quality shit. I'm building just the most mid card imaginable, full of Apex all-stars is what I like to call them. Just guys and girls that fight in the Apex. A lot of the time they're real Hall of Famers of the Apex. And yeah, we're going to be building a 14 fight card, 6 fights on the main card, 8 on the prelims. And yeah, let's get into it. So the main event of the card is Sean Strickland versus Caio Borralho. Now, Caio Borralho is coming up on his 5th fight in the Apex and his first ever main event against Jared Cannonier. After this week's card, after 305, he's fighting August 24th against Jared Cannonier. And if Cannonier wins, then I guess you cancel this plan. You could just do a Cannonier-Strickland rematch. I was thinking of doing a Mavov-Strickland, but I don't think that's happening. Look, is this fight gonna happen? Absolutely not. But for the purposes of this video, I don't care about realism. I don't care about who's booked or this or that. I'm saying, Sean Strickland, you've been yapping on Twitter saying you deserve a title shot. I mean, yeah, you kind of do, but the fight with Costa sucked, and the Dricus fight was close, whatever. But if Hansson or Whitaker wins dominantly, and they win impressively, they're going to overtake you, so you're going to have to fight again. I don't think the UFC is just going to let you wait out. That's also just not going to do you any favors with the fans. So if you want to do some favors with the fans, you want to get us back on your side, go back to your roots. I think we need a Sean Strickland factory reset settings. You know, when your phone's fucking up, it's all playing up, it's doing some weird shit. You got to factory reset that motherfucker. Just like restart it back to 0, and then you go from there. That's what we need to do with Sean Strickland. You know, he started actually like becoming a fucking real person. He started actually like involving himself in actual politics instead of just going on funny rants at Apex Media Days. So we need to factory reset this guy, send him back to his fucking homeland, send him back to the Apex, have him a fight night main event. It's going to be his 5th, this would be his 5th main event, or 6th, I think. Because let me think, Hansson, Uriah Hall, Cannonier, Amavov, Abbas Magomedov. This would be his 6th Apex main event. If he was to make if this fight was to be made. Now I'm assuming Borralho is going to beat Cannonier, and in that case, this could be a #1 contender fight after the winner of Hamza Whitaker fights, because when this fight takes place, if it does, then it would be a week after the proposed it would be a week after the Hamza Whitaker fight, and so we'd know who's getting a title shot out of them two. We'd know like the kind of timeline for when they would fight the winner of Dricus and Izzy, and yeah, this would be a perfect fight to then winner. If Strickland wins this, then by all means, mate, sit out. But it gets a bit annoying when you go from the guy that I'll fucking fight anyone, man, to I'm sitting out and waiting for a title shot. Like, here's a fucking thing, man. I'm gonna wait on the sidelines like a bitch. I don't know. Sean Strickland, get back in the cage, factory reset yourself. And then, yeah, go back to your fucking base default settings. Stop trying to expand as a person. Just, like, stay how you were in, like, a Mavov fight, Abbas fight, that kind of run, where we were just seeing Strickland just go on the most outrageous, like, rants and tangents at Apex press conferences. So, yeah, that's what we need to do as the main event of the card. But let's move on to the co-main event. For the co-main event, Khalil Roundtree. He's had his last 5 fights in the Apex, and this is going to be his 6th, because guess what? We're not making you fight up the rankings. We're not giving you fucking Jamal Hill and none of that. You popped, buddy. I don't care if it was unintentional. You got to fight down, and you're going to have a banger in the Apex with Bogdan Gushkov, whose last 2 fights and 2 out of his 3 UFC appearances have been in the Apex, obviously. Fought fought in Paris last year against Ozdemir. Since then, KO'd Zach Perunga in February and then KO'd Ryan Spann in April. So yeah, Bogdan Gushkov versus Khalil Roundtree is going to be the co-main event of UFC Vegas 100. This shit is a banger, and this is a very Apexy kind of like. Khalil Roundtree is an Apex all-star. His last 5 fights have been in the Apex. And no, you're not fighting on a pay-per-view card. You're not fighting in front of fans. Even though you're actually a fun fighting style, it's not like he's a boring fighter. But why ruin tradition? If it's not broke, don't fix it. And I love seeing myself some Khalil Roundtree getting some fucking cars driving past my house, but shut up. But I love seeing myself some Khalil Roundtree Apex highlights, KO on Chris Daukaus, about threatening to hammer fist fucking Anthony Smith's head into the fucking depths of hell. I love seeing that, and Bogdan Gushkov's a wild man. This fight would be fucking nuts. It would deserve a crowd, to be honest, but you know, I say for Vegas 100, you let like an extra 100 fans into the building. You expand it a little bit. We have some atmosphere in this place, because this fight would be a banger. Let's move on though to the next fight. Next up, we've got Brendan Allen versus Jack Hermansson. Brendan Allen has 9 fights in the Apex. This is about to be his 10th. I don't know anyone who's got 10 fights or more in the Apex. There's a lot with 8, there's a lot with 9, right? Well, there's not even a lot with 8 or 9. But Brendan Allen, 9 fights in the Apex. This is going to be your 10th, buddy. I know he's got a fight booked with Amavov. He's going to lose that fight. He's going to get finished. And you might ask, oh, what the fuck? He's fighting in September and you're going to have him fight in November? Yes, I don't like Brendan Allen as a person. He annoys me. Annoys me to look at, annoys me to listen to. I hate Brendan Allen, hate everything about him. So what we're going to do is he's going to lose to Amavov and get finished. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn him around in like 5 weeks and say, all right, fuck you, go fight Hermansson. I mean, Hermansson's not like a guy that's going to finish him badly. I wanted to like be mean and do like Brendan Allen versus like Gregory Rodriguez. Because Robocop fights a lot in the Apex, but Robocop's like a real person. He's not just some fucking GTA like 6 or GTA 5 like factory fucking settings base default character. He's actually somewhat of an interesting person. But Brendan Allen is just a fucking bum. I hate him. Dude's ranked number like 7 in the fucking world. Best wins is Chris Curtis, close decision, and then Paul Craig, who sucks. So yeah, I don't like Brendan Allen, if you couldn't tell already. But Hermansson's also fought a lot in the Apex. He's main evented a couple cards in the Apex, and this is a very, assuming he loses to what's his name, fucking Amavov, then him versus Hermansson's a very Apexy fight. This arguably should be like an Apex main event, but you know, what we're doing for Vegas 100, what we're doing for this special occasion is we're taking a bunch of fights that normally would be Apex main events, and we're just dumping them all on a card and having like all six fights on this main card are all going to be fights that would like main event an Apex card. But anyway, let's move on to the next fight. Stop Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. Perez, 5 out of the last 6 in the Apex. Charles Johnson, 6 of his last 9 in the Apex. He's also got a fight booked against Sumaderji in October. October 19th is the date. So yes, I do have full intentions of turning this man around on 3 weeks' notice. Look, it'll make up for it because Perez is coming off an injury. He's probably not even going to be ready by this time, so we're going to be like, all right, fuck you guys. I don't care about your injury. I don't care about your 3 weeks' notice. We're booking this fight. Do what they did with Hamza. Just pre-book him for a fight when he's already got a fight booked. And yeah, this fight needs to happen. Both of these two Apex All-Stars from the flyweight division. Charles Johnson has been on ridiculous, like, crackhead level activity of the amount of times he's been fighting. So 3 week turnaround, that'll be nothing. That'll be no problem. So yeah, he'll be fine and make this fight. Both of these two are definite Apex All-Stars that need to be featured. This is probably the one that wouldn't really be an Apex main event, but I could see it. Perez has main evented his last 2 in the Apex. And if Charles Johnson beats Sumaderji, he'll be ranked. So yeah, this is like a fight that like would main event a very weak Apex card. The other ones all would main event your average Apex card though. Let's move on though to the next fight. Next up, this is a fight that's actually booked for the card, I believe. And it's between Derek Lewis and Alexander Romanov, 2 blobs, 2 fat men. And this fight is taking place on the November, I believe it's November 2nd or November 3rd, something like that. But yeah, this fight is taking place on this card already. So I was thinking about doing maybe like Romanov versus Delima or Nascimento or something like that. But this fight's booked. I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to take it off the card. There is one women's MMA fight that's already on the card. Fuck out of here. We don't want that. But yeah, this fight needs to be added. Let's move, or it just can stay there, I guess. Both of these two pretty Apexy fighters as well. Lewis less so, but Romanov, definite Apex All-Star. Let's move on though to the next fight. Next up, another Apex All-Star main event level fight that would definitely main event an Apex card. Tabora versus Rosenstrike, both of these two 6 fights, I think, in the Apex. Yeah, Tabora coming off he's already 2 main events this year in the Apex. Rosenstrike has definitely been main eventing his fair share of Apex cards, main evented against Gaziev earlier in the year, which was a CGI fight. Gaziev would never lose. But yeah, Tabora versus Rosenstrike. Rosenstrike, I assume, is about to beat Tai Tuivasa pretty comfortably. Yeah, there's a bit good timing to turn this fight around and open up the main card of this exhilarating fight night. Let's move on though to another matchup. Next up, another Apex All-Stars, Brian Battle versus Daniel Rodriguez. 7 fights in the Apex for Daniel Rodriguez, and Brian Battle only 6, but 6 out of his 7 UFC fights. So it's not like he's a vet that's been around for ages. No, this dude has basically exclusively fought in the Apex. The one time he fought outside the Apex, he actually got a KO, so we can't be having that. He KO'd Gabe Green in like 10 seconds. Can't be having that. Can't be having like actually interesting fights out of you. You're gonna have to stay in the Apex, buddy. I know he's got some other KOs in the Apex, but like, yeah, this dude has just been Apex maxing. That's a new term we're going to use on this channel, Apex maxing. It can be used for fighters, cards, it can be used for anything. But yeah, Battle versus Rodriguez. I didn't know Rodriguez had fought that many times in the Apex, but I checked. He's actually fought a fuckload of times in the Apex. So yeah, add this fight to the card. Let's move on though to another fight. So we're going with a rematch, because nothing like an Apex card without... It can't be an Apex card without a meaningless rematch. Angela Hill versus Amanda Lemos. These two fought ages ago. Well, not ages ago. I think it was like 2021. I believe Angela Hill won a split decision, or maybe Lemos won a split decision. That's how irrelevant this fight was. So if you rebooked this, no one would even know it's a rematch. But yeah, nothing like a random, pointless rematch that no one really knows that it was a rematch. The same with Tabora Spivak. Not many people knew it was a rematch until they started actually talking about how Tabora won the first fight. So yeah, dump this fight on the prelims. Again, it can't be an Apex card without just meaningless WMMA fights. So that's what we need. We need a random number 8 versus number 5 or some shit strawweight fight. Otherwise, it can't be a true Apex card. And now you might ask, why are there women on this card? Because it's an Apex card. I'm being realistic, you fuckheads. Also, you're lucky I'm not putting unranked women. I'm being somewhat unrealistic by not just making like completely unranked, like 1-on-1 fighting off contender series chicks. I'm being like, this is like the best of the mid is what I'm talking about here. But let's move on to another fight. 16 combined Apex fights between these two, Damon Jackson and Alex Caceres. 2 Apex All-Stars. Jackson, him and Brendan Allen both racing as quick as possible to become the first fighter to have 10 Apex fights. I think they might be the first, because I looked, even like Arlovsky I actually don't think has 10. He's got a lot, but he doesn't have 10. So I don't think anyone has 10 Apex fights, and Jackson's got 9. When I say Apex fights, I don't mean on like the Vegas this or Vegas 92 or Vegas 86. Like, I don't mean those cards. I just mean genuinely like fought in the Apex. So that could be the pay-per-views back during COVID when they had those in the Apex. That still counts. But yeah, Jackson has fought 9 times in the Apex, Caceres 7. This is a true unranked featherweight, typical Apex prelim headliner. I mean, to be fair, with the quality we've been getting recently, it's a normal average Apex co-main event. But yeah, gotta add this fight. There's a special Apex featherweight clash between two just mid veterans. Let's move on though to another fight. Next up, we got GM3 Gerald Meerschaert versus Rodolfo Vieira. GM3 7 fights in the Apex. Rodolfo Vieira, and then also GM3 is coming up on his 8th. He's about to fight Edmund Shabazian, who's also a pretty solid Apex All-Star. But then Rodolfo Vieira, all 5 of his fights have been in the Apex. This man has not fought outside the Apex. He's not seen a crowd in his life. So yeah, gotta make this fight. 2 wily veteran grapplers. Would be actually not a bad fight as well, to be fair. Again, this is what I mean with this card. There is nothing crazy here. There is no UFC 300 level fucking blow your socks off fight. I'm not being unrealistic. They would never put Max Holloway versus fucking like Dustin Poirier in the Apex. Like, they're not gonna do that. I'm just doing fights that are like, would definitely be in the Apex, but just decent fights. Like, you know how they'll just get a whole bunch of like half decent, oh, that's not a bad main event. Like getting a bunch of those and just dumping them all on one card. That's what this is. Probably this would be the best Apex card ever assembled. Again, it's still mid as fuck. That's the point. But let's move on to another fight. Next up, we've got Jim Miller versus Grant Dawson. 8 fights in the Apex for Jim Miller, 6 for Grant Dawson. I didn't know Jim Miller had that many. I thought he fought in front of crowds a bit more, but I guess he has been doing the work for a hot minute. And again, think about it, that's actually pretty fucking impressive, especially the guys that have 9 fights in the Apex. The Apex has been open since like February 2020 or something like that. I think that was like the first Apex card, like February 2020 roughly. And it's now like, what's it called? August 2024. So it's been just over 4 years, and these guys are averaging one Apex fight. Like, they're averaging 2 Apex fights a year pretty much. Think about like two fights here is not crazy, but like 2 Apex fights here, that basically means like they're fighting most of that 4-year time frame in the Apex. And think about guys like Charles Johnson, debuted in 2021. Some of these guys haven't even like skipped a whole portion of it, and they've just been doing work exclusively in like the last 2 years in the Apex. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on to another fight. Sorry, Jim Miller, Grant Dawson. Yeah, both of these two very Apexy fighters, just grappling heavy matchup. Grant Dawson, never let this dude fight in front of a crowd again. That Selecki fight was awful. So yeah, put this dude back in the cryogenic chambers, as Lucas Tracy would say. Freeze him up, and then you can roll him out with the battery pack for UFC Vegas 100 against Jim Miller, who's a real person. Let's move on though to another fight. Next up, we're rebooking a fight that just got cancelled from last weekend's card. Gutierrez versus Javid Basharat. These guys both pretty solid level Apex fighters. Basharat doesn't have as many fights in the UFC, of course, so he's not going to be as much of an Apex fighter. But I think apart from the Victor Henry fight, where it was a nut shot, I think every single other one of his fights have been in the Apex. I'm pretty sure 4 out of 5. And then Gutierrez, he's been doing work in the Apex. Obviously, Kang Lee or whatever his name was, Apex fight. Song Yadong, Apex fight. They fought another Chinese dude. This dude's back-to-back fought 3 Asians in a row in the Apex. Crazy. Random statistic of the day. He's fought fucking Alatung Hae Lee, Chinese dude, fought Song Yadong, another Chinese dude, and he fought this Vietnamese dude, Kang Ho Lee, or some shit. So yeah, Chris Gutierrez, maybe it's like the new reverse version of Tatsuro Taira. He's the fucking Hispanic dude, the Mexican or whatever. I know he's not Mexican, but like he's the Hispanic dude beating all the Asians or fighting all the Asians, with his Taira's doing the reverse. So yeah, based Chris Gutierrez. But let's move on to the next fight. Wouldn't be an Apex card without a women's bantamweight fight. Norma Jamont versus Myra Silva. Both of these two have been putting in work in the Apex. Also, tremendous physical attributes from both of them. If you just cut off the face of Myra Silva, you give us the tits of Myra Silva, the ass of Norma Jamont. We're talking. Now we're talking. So this fight would be quite enjoyable to watch. But yeah, very solid fight to add to an Apex 100 card. But let's move on though to the last fight on the card, I should say, or the early prelim opener. Nothing like an Apex card without a Mo Usman fight. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. To say ain't no party like a Mo Usman party. And that's the Apex. The Apex is the Mo Usman party. But I don't know where I was going with that. But Waldo Cortez Acosta as well, Apex All-Star. He fought Rebellis outside the Apex. He fought Bechki outside the Apex. But apart from that, dude's been Apex maxing all over the place. Him versus Usman. I think, what's his name? Waldo might be fighting Chris Barnett, but my plan is for him to get spinning wheel kicked by Chris Barnett, and then he can turn around in 2 weeks and fight Mo Usman. Battle of the equally unlikable, boring Apex fighters with darker complexions. But yeah, that is the card, guys. I hope you enjoy. 14 fights, top to bottom. That's a full stacked Apex lineup. A whole bunch of mid-offs on the card. With a perfectly suited Apex main event of Sean Strickland versus Caio Baralho. Again, I didn't promise an amazing card. I didn't promise some banger matchups. I just promised extreme Apexiness, and I delivered, I believe. So yeah, let me know in the comments, which fighters did I forget that have fought a bunch in the Apex? Who did I leave out? Let me know. I'm sure I forgot a couple. But I don't think anyone's fought more than 10 times in the Apex. If you can find someone that has more than 10 fights in the Apex, let me know. But yeah, that'll do it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.